Welcome to Creative Imperfections. I'm Kelly, and I am so glad you're here. Think of this podcast as your safe place to be your beautifully messy self. Let's dive in. Lately, I've been spending a lot of time inside something I'm building, writing it, mapping it, sitting with it, letting it rearrange how I think about growth and change and identity and the way we move through transitions in our lives. And what's been interesting is that the more I write, the more I realize I'm not inventing something new. I'm noticing something that's been happening all along, a pattern, a rhythm, almost like a sequence that shows up whenever real transformation takes place, whether we recognize it or not. It's subtle at first, easy to overlook, but once you start seeing it, you see it everywhere. In the moments people decide something in their life has to shift. In the space where they stop tolerating what no longer fits. In the quiet, internal work no one else can see. In the clarity that slowly replaces confusion. And eventually in the actions that look small from the outside, but feel enormous from the inside. It's like watching a structure assemble itself from the inside out. And writing about this has been strange in the best possible way because every time I think I fully understand the process, life gives me another example, another reminder that change isn't random and it's not chaotic, even when it feels that way while you're inside it. There is a shape to growth. It's not rigid, it's not linear, but it is recognizable. And what keeps striking me is how often we try to skip parts of that shape. We want clarity without reflection, action without understanding, results without integration. We want to arrive somewhere new without fully becoming the version of ourselves who can live there. But lasting change doesn't work like that. Something always comes first. There's always a moment where you see, a moment where you claim, a moment where you turn inward instead of outward, a moment where things start to make sense, a moment where movement begins to feel aligned instead of forced. These moments don't always announce themselves, they don't come labeled or organized. They overlap, they repeat, they deepen, but they appear again and again whenever someone is genuinely transforming something in their life. I think most of us have lived through these phases without realizing that's what they were. We just thought we were confused or stuck or searching or rebuilding. But underneath those feelings, something structured was happening, something necessary. I've been watching this unfold in my own life while writing. There are days when the work feels clear and grounded, like everything is clicking into place. And then there are days when it feels like I'm circling something I can't quite articulate yet. Like the understanding is there, but the language hasn't caught up. And interestingly, those uncertain days are never wasted. They're part of the process too. They're the inner work happening before clarity stabilizes. It's the recalibration before the direction, the integration before action becomes steadier. We're not usually taught to respect those phases. We're taught to move faster, to decide quickly, to act immediately, to interpret uncertainty as a problem instead of a stage. But uncertainty often means something is reorganizing. And when you zoom out, growth starts to look less like a series of random breakthroughs and more like a repeating cycle, one that invites you to see differently, take responsibility differently, understand yourself differently, and eventually move differently. And once you notice that cycle, something shifts. You stop asking, why does this feel messy? And start asking, where am I in the process? You stop assuming confusion means that you're failing, and you start recognizing that it might just mean you're in the middle of something necessary. You stop trying to rush toward the outcome and start paying attention to what's unfolding underneath. That awareness changes how you relate to change itself. It becomes less about forcing results and more about moving through stages with intention. It's less about reacting to comfort and more about understanding what the discomfort is pointing toward. And maybe that's why writing this work has felt less like creating something and more like uncovering something. I feel like I'm brushing dust off of a pattern that's been quietly shaping human growth all along. I'm not ready to share all of it yet. It's still forming, still settling into language, still teaching me things I didn't expect to learn. But what I can say is this: transformation isn't accidental, it isn't instant, and it isn't only external. It begins long before anything visible changes. It begins with awareness, ownership, inner alignment, clarity, and eventually the choices that follow. And when those pieces all come together, not perfectly, not all at once, but gradually, something powerful happens. Change stops feeling so chaotic. Growth stops feeling so mysterious. It all begins to feel intentional, structured, and sustainable. Like you're not just reacting to life anymore, you're participating. And maybe that's the real work. Not chasing transformation, but learning how to recognize its shapes as it unfolds. I've been living inside that realization while writing, and it's changing how I move through everything. Decisions, habits, goals, even the way I interpret discomfort or uncertainty. Instead of asking, how do I fix this? I find myself asking, what part of the process is this? And that question alone brings so much peace and so much steadiness. Because when you understand the rhythm of growth, you don't panic when things feel unclear. You don't rush when things feel slow. You don't assume you're off track just because you're in the messy middle. You recognize that becoming has structure, even when it feels messy from the inside. And that understanding changes everything about how you move forward. I will share more on that soon. But for now, I want you to notice where you might be in your own unfolding. Not where you think you should be, not where you wish you already were, just where you actually are in the process of becoming something new. Where are you in your growth process? Because that awareness alone is movement. And that awareness is where the magic lives. Thank you for listening to Creative Imperfections. Always remember, there's magic in the mess. If you enjoyed this episode, share it, subscribe, and keep showing up for your beautifully imperfect journey. Until next time.